The debate surrounding Shadur Sanders has become one of the most heated storylines in football this season. Once projected as a first-round pick, even flirting with the idea of going number 1 or 2 overall, Shedeur has seen his stock fluctuate in ways few could have predicted. Critics question his decisions, pundits argue about his landing spot, and fans can't stop speculating about what his future really holds. At the center of it all is a choice that defined his rookie path, turning down the Baltimore Ravens. LeSean "Shady" McCoy, never one to mince words, came out swinging at the critics who claim Shedeur made a mistake. To him, it's simple. Why would any ambitious young quarterback willingly sit behind Lamar Jackson? McCoy was blunt, pointing out that no matter how much hype followed Sanders out of college, no matter how confident he was in his skills, Baltimore would never give him the keys while Lamar was healthy and in his prime. "You ain't playing with Lamar," McCoy said flatly. And he's right. The Ravens already have a franchise quarterback. Shadur's path to playing time in Baltimore would have been blocked indefinitely. Instead, Sanders chose Cleveland, a team in transition, where opportunity is far more tangible. McCoy emphasized that this wasn't arrogance, it was strategy. Shadur, raised and mentored by Deion Sanders, was instilled with confidence from day one. He doesn't see himself as a backup, doesn't view his career as a waiting game. He sees himself as a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's not delusion. That's self-belief, and McCoy applauded him for standing his ground. McCoy doubled down by putting himself in Shadur's shoes. If the options on the table were franchises like the Saints, Giants, or Browns, teams where a young quarterback could realistically see the field quickly, versus the Ravens, where he'd spend his early years carrying a clipboard, the decision was a no-brainer. Every competitor with ambition would make the same call: choose the path to playing time. Choose the team that lets you grow by actually playing football, not waiting for injuries or chance. The conversation doesn't stop there. McCoy reminded everyone that Shedeur wasn't just another rookie quarterback scraping to prove himself. He was one of the most hyped prospects in the country, a player who carried a 72% completion rate in college and consistently delivered highlight reel performances under pressure. That resume gave him leverage, and according to McCoy, there's nothing wrong with using it. If you're good enough to have options, you have every right to say no to situations that don't serve your long-term career. Stephen A. Smith joined the chorus of defenders, echoing McCoy's sentiments but adding his own signature perspective. For Stephen A., the decision wasn't about disrespecting the Ravens, it was about being realistic. Baltimore might be a respected franchise, but opportunity matters more than prestige. In a league where rookie quarterbacks can quickly vanish into obscurity if they don't see the field, Sanders' decision was less about where he didn't go and more about where he could play. Why sit in Baltimore hoping for Lamar Jackson to get hurt when you can step into a situation with genuine opportunity? Stephen A. pointed to Sanders' numbers to back up his argument. A 72% completion rate isn't just solid, it's elite. That kind of accuracy doesn't happen by accident, and it's proof that Shedeur wasn't just hype. He was a real talent, the kind of quarterback who deserves a chance to compete sooner rather than later. He added that several teams, including the Browns, Giants, Bills, and even the Bengals, represented realistic landing spots where Sanders could see meaningful playing time right away. Cincinnati, in particular, stood out given Joe Burrow's lingering injury issues. For Stephen A., this was less about Shadur ducking competition and more about Shadur making a calculated decision to bet on himself. McCoy then turned his fire on Joe Flacco. The veteran Cleveland has leaned on despite his best years being long in the rearview mirror. McCoy didn't mince words. He called out the hype around Flacco as misguided, reminding everyone that outside of 1 or 2 standout years, Flacco's career has been defined more by inconsistency than brilliance. "Why are we surprised?" McCoy asked. "He's only been good for like a year or 2 in his whole career. Harsh, maybe, but it's a truth many Browns fans know all too well." For McCoy, sticking with Flacco is just delaying the inevitable. Cleveland needs to move on. Not because of sentiment or nostalgia, but because their future is sitting on the bench. Whether it's Shadur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel, the Browns have young quarterbacks with the potential to grow into leaders. Every snap given to Flacco is a snap wasted, a chance stolen from the very players the franchise should be grooming. What makes this conversation so compelling is that it's bigger than just Cleveland or Baltimore. It's about the evolution of the modern NFL quarterback. In an era where rookies are expected to contribute quickly, where patience is thin and opportunities are fleeting, players like Shadur Sanders are forced to make career-defining choices before they ever throw a pass in the league. Do you go to the established franchise with a locked-in starter, Or do you gamble on a less glamorous team where the door is open wider? Sanders chose the latter, and voices like McCoy and Stephen A. are saying that was the right call. And let's not forget the intangibles. Sanders was raised by Deion Primetime Sanders, one of the most confident and outspoken athletes of all time. That upbringing matters. It created a quarterback who isn't afraid to say, "I'm not going to sit behind Lamar, Josh Allen, or Patrick Mahomes. I want to start. I want to lead." That's not immaturity, that's ambition. And for McCoy and Stephen A., it's exactly what separates future stars from long-term backups. The Browns may still be leaning on Flacco today, but the writing is on the wall. Change is coming. As McCoy predicted, the moment Cleveland finally moves on from Flacco, Shadur Sanders' opportunity will arrive. And when it does, McCoy believes it won't just be a turning point for Sanders, it will be a turning point for the entire franchise. The Browns' future rests in the hands of young quarterbacks like Sanders and Gabriel, not in the twilight years of an aging veteran. In the end, the debate over Sanders' decision says more about the NFL than it does about him. This is a league where opportunity and timing matter just as much as talent. Shadur understood that, and instead of settling for a backup role, he positioned himself for a future where he could step onto the field sooner rather than later. Whether or not he succeeds is still to be determined, but the logic behind his decision is undeniable. So the question now falls to you, the fans. Did Shadur Sanders make the right decision by passing on the Ravens for a team where he could realistically get on the field sooner? Do you agree with LeSean McCoy and Stephen A. Smith that Cleveland should already be giving him, or at least Dylan Gabriel, a chance instead of wasting time with Joe Flacco? And most importantly, do you see Shadur as the future face of the Browns offense, or does he still have more to prove before earning that role? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss the latest breakdowns of the biggest NFL storylines.